think I found a piece of myself that I was missing. Nev is the man when it comes to, storytelling.
Man, I'm just really happy to be part of his redemption tour while I'm going on mine.
But every now and then I would have to let them know why they paid me to play.
How do you think Jimmy handled that situation? In today's NIL world, how much are you worth?
Stylistically, I really miss the way that the game used to be played.
Airy on the narrative. Best in class, so pray for my peers. Slingshot bullet that's clear. Your weak shots couldn't pierce through bulletproof ears. A martyr, a menace. I'm leading horses to drink and pulling teeth like I'm feeding the dentist. Airy on the narrative.
Welcome to BTN Sports. My name is Andy Hernandez. Today we have special guest Keon Dooling, former first-round pick of the Orlando Magic, and unfortunately we have Nevin here today.
Big Nev.
How y'all boys doing today?
Super.
Yeah.
All is well, champ.
Good to see you, man. I know you've been getting back out there. You went through a little bit of a situation. It's good to see you back out and trying to get your name back out there. And
Absolutely. It's all about redemption. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's not what you do, it's how you react to it and overcome it. So I'm locked into the process.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about your legal situation. How did that come about? How did you find yourself in that situation, and what did you learn through that process?
Well, I think the first step is accountability. I made bad decisions, bad choices, and, had to live with the consequences of those actions. I don't point the finger. I don't blame anyone. I accept my role, my responsibility, and, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about the law, right? And having to do time is something that I never experienced, but kind of, going in, you see a whole different perspective, a whole different world. So I think I found a piece of myself that I was missing. Not saying that you have to go through a situation like that to do a deep dive and find yourself, but in that place, man, you get a lot of time to think, you get a lot of time to pray, you get a lot of time to exercise, you build a routine. So I learned a lot about myself. I'm pretty resilient, and I'm thankful, that I had an opportunity to survive it, because now I can use my voice to help others, to, raise awareness around, prison reform. And yeah, man, my family, we survived it. We made it. So I'm thankful to be here today.
Right. How was that that first day that you were in that situation that you found yourself? What was the mindset on that particular day? I always ask that question to people that have been in.
So the first day in, or
first day in.
The first day in, man, for me was it was tough. It was tough. Just kind of, taking in the environment, soaking it up. You hear all these stories about when you're locked up, kind of what happens when you're in those situations. So I just had to just kind of process everything. I had several edibles on the way in, so I wasn't all the way there in that moment. But I just locked in. Found myself, in my cell with Big Mike, 448 F4 at Coleman. And just went to church that day, went out and watched some basketball. People came in, they blessed me, with shower shoes, pillows, clothes, different things like that. It was during a lockdown, so there was no commissary and things like that. So, guys kind of put a bag together for me and things like that. I didn't shower, or shave the first day. I just kind of soaked it all in, and then the next morning I was like, okay, let's snap out of it. Let's get into your routine. Let's figure out how you're going to do your time, because that's very important when you're behind.
Right. What was your biggest takeaway being in that situation, the time that you served?
The biggest takeaway for me is that, man, there's some good men, some good people going through some unfortunate situations. You'll learn a lot about people. And I keep saying that because, it gets really quiet in there. You don't necessarily have access to communicate to a lot of different people. A lot of people might not write you or come and visit you and things like that. So you really have to, adjust and adapt to the environment that you're in. You have to learn the rules and the regulations, what I'm saying, the unspoken rules that go on in that situation. So you have to respect those things, because a lot of guys had a lot more time than me, right? And they're going to be there a lot longer than, after I leave. Right. So For me, man, I just wanted to get that routine together, get with the right people, carve out my little niche, and work my plan that I had for myself.
Got it. Got it. I know you and Nevin met at your halfway
Yeah.
house. How did that come about, and how did you guys meet?
Well, there's different stages of incarceration, and the halfway house is a good step back into society. You go there from when you do your time and you find work and employment. You get to go see your family on weekends if you have a job and things like that. But it's you're still incarcerated nevertheless. It's very strict, somewhat strict, more strict sometimes than being for me at Coleman. But it was a good reentry step for me because I got to do some therapy, some additional therapy.
Sure.
Got to be on the court every day working with NBA players and high school and college players. So I got to get out every day. And then I got to go home on the weekends and spend time with my wife and my kids and things like that. So I think it was a great step into getting to, where I am now.
Sure.
It's the probation part.
Sure. So what was your first impression when you met Keon?
Well, when I was there, we do a weekly I was already on house arrest, so I'd been home for probably close to 4 years already, 3.5 years. And I saw Keon, and right away, I know most ball players from this area specifically, and I had remembered his situation. But in all honesty, when I approached Keon, I look at I'm not like a stargazer or athlete, like I looked at Keon like another one of my alumni.
Fayette University.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Graduating class of 23 or 4, whatever it was for him. And so, I'm Andy, you've gotten to know me, so I'm really big on redemption, man. And I know, what I've been through, and I've gotten to know him a lot better since that time.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy.
Right.
And he's got a good heart, and you could see he takes his accountability for whatever situation he found himself in.
Yeah.
And man, I'm just really happy to be part of, his redemption tour
Right.
while I'm going on mine.
Right.
I'm a few years ahead of him.
Right.
In that regard. So I've really touched the ground already, and he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm positive of it.
So you mentioned prison reform, and I know prison reform is very dear to your heart. Where do you what's your overall thought on how prison is handled now, and what do you want to see changed in the system?
Well, I mean, prison is prison, so it's not supposed to be, a good situation. But I think you can make, some of the best growth opportunities are in opportunities of adversity. So I think the programming could be better. I think just the environment, the cleanliness, the water situation, being able to have access to good, clean water, not having mass punishment. If somebody does something and then everybody's locked down, you all suffer from it. So just little infrastructure things that could be better, and then programming again, because there's a lot of guys in there with a lot of potential. There's a lot of guys in there who need certain, need help along the way, right? Need some type of rehabilitation, need some type of skill set. And so you want to maximize that time. I think they're really, really missing the mark on, giving guys legitimate opportunities to grow. And so they're better for society when they get out.
Yeah, one of the biggest takeaways I've had, and I've gotten close to Nevin in the past, 6 months, 8 months, whatever the time frame is the alumni are very smart.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of smart
very
ones.
creative, very creative.
and they've done a lot of great things. It just they had a bad moment and they got themselves in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And that's they had to go serve time. But a lot of smart people. I didn't realize that. And the other part is the reentry back,
Right.
where they're setting you guys up for failure. I'm seeing it firsthand.
Yeah,
In his situation.
It's really
tough.
It's despicable. I echo Keon's sentiments identically. It's not about rehabilitation. It's about punishment. And how do you avoid recidivism when you're just letting guys come back to choke? You can't even get a job, or not everyone finds themselves in a special type situation with a number of opportunities. I'm fortunate in that regard, but the fact that you have to go through what you have to go through to get a job, can you do that?
Yeah.
Like how do you've already been punished? Like, can we come back now?
Yeah.
Like, what's the get back level? And
Like in your situation with the restitution, and I think you have
Yeah.
restitution as well, is how do they want you to pay back the victims if they're cutting every single possibility of you getting a job and making the money back?
like, what my feelings are. We've spoken about it personally since we've known one another. I'm really, really passionate about this, and it's not like all of a sudden I found God and that's how I feel. It's despicable, right? It's despicable, and change has got to be there, or else like prison's a business. It's become a business. It's an American business at this point in time. We're like the number one incarcerated by miles.
By miles
over
versus
the
other countries, yeah.
And it's just, and I'm sure Keon would say the same thing. I would never have cared unless I went.
Right.
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 How would I have known?
Right.
Yeah.
Nor would I have cared.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of had an idea because of my wife's dad's situation, and I've been very open about it, and she's very open about it as well. And I started to understand a little bit of what was going on, and he got bad representation. He got thrown 30 years on conspiracy. They didn't catch him on anything. Just got the book thrown at him. So, but getting closer to your situation and really going into the weeds and seeing how things are being handled, I'm like, this can't be our system. There's no way this can be our system.
Listen, it's criminal for
Yeah.
real. No pun intended, but it's not a sustainable model to get people to rehabilitate. You're just coming out more pissed off.
Right.
And I've seen some really, really, I echo Keon's sentiments identically. There's some really great guys inside.
Yeah.
There are some good guys inside, man. Like I've made better friends inside than the guys I grew up with my whole life.
Right.
And to this day, they all know it.
Some of that's because they're at their lowest
Right,
moment,
and-
right? You
yeah.
get to see who they truly are and what the character is made out of, right?
And-
in that situation.
And there are some really, really sharp guys.
Yep.
Like really great thinkers who made bad decisions and found themselves in that situation. And I've lived it, and I'm a product of it.
Right.
I've seen it.
Nev, let me
firsthand.
ask you this question. What would be one thing that you would want to see changed immediately with the system?
Well, that's an open-ended question and very, very hard to really pinpoint because there's so many issues with. I mean, the time is insane. So it starts at the sentencing process
Sure.
and the government side. So let's just start there. That's its own network of evil, right? But inside, I don't see any rehabilitation. The programming, like Keon said, the programming it's a joke.
Right.
It's a joke. Like if you sat with me and some of the guys that I was with, Bernie Ebbers, MCI WorldCom, Jeff Skilling, and Ron. I don't want to say made up, but made off. Listen, you're getting a real Ivy League education.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And like those were the fruitful conversations, just real, business. And they don't provide that. It's a joke, really, how they handle it inside. And there's just no basis for a guy to come out and succeed. That's what I would do. There's no programming. There should be a real programming infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's just the start. I could talk to you for hours.
Got it. So turning the tide here a little bit, Nevin says he was first team federal basketball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He said he was first teamer. You believe that?
You know what? Look, Nev is the man when it comes to, storytelling. Storyteller extraordinaire.
So maybe
You
you
know,
say he's full of shit? Is that what
I'm
you're
not saying he's full of shit, but I'm just saying that like it's some ballers in there.
Yeah,
There's some guys who are really, really talented, really, really athletic, really strong, and great condition.
Yeah.
But I know Nev would have had the right team around him.
My team was stacked.
They would hide
Listen,
his
if you
flaws,
Go through your starting lineup.
hide his flaws a
Go through
little
your starting
bit.
lineup.
Ramil Robinson,
Okay. Okay.
William Bedford.
Okay.
Two guys are, serving 25 to life, but they were the power forward. Man, my squad, you know what my squad was.
Yeah.
Come on, nothing
Yeah.
changes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And by the way, Dr. Zeus has nothing on me.
Yeah.
I can tell stories.
All right, but the great thing about like sports, when you're in,
Right.
is that like it's a great uniter.
Right.
It's not segregated. It's not like having to go to one TV room or the next. It's an opportunity, to express your talent,
Right.
To get some frustration out,
Right.
to compete, to have fun, to laugh. So I would train a lot of guys. I was
Mhm.
commissioner over the 3-on-3 league.
Yeah, I
and-
saw that in one of your interviews that you
so-
were the commissioner over the
Yep,
league.
and I was training guys on the court, on a daily basis. I might have like 8 to 10 guys who I would train on a daily basis. Some of them wanted to get better, just so when they get out, they can go to the park and lace them up.
Right.
Some of the older guys just wanted to stay in shape. And man, we just made the most of it. And a lot of times, because I played in the NBA, guys wanted to see where they were at.
Right.
So it had been a long time since I played on like concrete courts.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then I would have to let them know why they paid me to play. Every now and then I have to, show up and show out.
How was the shit talking?
Well, you know what? The shit talking it can get crazy at times, because a lot of times, in TV rooms and, when you're doing competition, that's where a lot of fights can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can see Nevin being first team shit talker for sure.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Lottery pick.
Absolutely.
pick.
Absolutely. My brother has the gift of gab.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. But man, being out there and just being able to, spend time with guys and, move around and exercise and have fun, it was really therapeutic.
Cool.
Yeah.
So before you went in, you were a coach with the Jazz.
Yes.
Do you see yourself getting back into coaching?
You know what? Nev talked about like reentry.
Mhm.
And after you do a crime, you have to do your time.
Right.
But it just doesn't stop when your time is up.
Mhm.
You still wear that felon on your resume. You wear it on your, on your everyday movements.
Mhm.
So you lose a lot of rights to vote. You lose a lot of opportunities that you might be qualified for, but you have this on your resume.
Right.
now. So I think it's going to be difficult to get back into coaching in the NBA.
Right.
Is it possible? Possibly. But I'm finding a different joy in the podcast space, being able to, use my commentary, use my insight, use my relationships, use my knowledge.
Yep.
So I'm having fun with this because it brings a certain level of
Right.
independence,
Mhm.
freedom, because it is a little bit difficult to get back into that. So I don't necessarily have to coach in the NBA to be a coach. I'm a certified life coach. I like to coach people. I'm a person builder in a lot of ways. And so if I have to go coach youth, if I have to coach, all these different places, if I have to coach corporately and executives, I'm a coach at heart. That's kind of a part of my DNA. And I don't need a job to justify that. You have to embody who you are and be who you are. And sometimes if they don't let you at the table, you have to go and create your own table. So that's the goal.
Got it. So you talked about doing the podcasting now. Now you're a contributor on All the Smoke. How's that going for you?
It's fun, man.
With some talented dudes over there.
Yeah, man. Matt and Stat Jack are amazing. I'm so thankful, man, that they give me the opportunity to be able to come on their platform that they've worked so hard to build. And so it's just been fun. It's been creative. I'm getting better in the space, and so I'm developing.
Right.
Finding my voice, building my fan base, and it's been great. It's a
Those
great
guys
show.
are pioneers, man. And,
They are.
For you and you're good friends with them, seeing that involvement and seeing where they're at today, did you think that they were going to grow into that?
Well, I just want the thing about those two guys is they have this it factor, and it's different. I think they have a perfect contrast in styles, and I think they believe in one another, they respect each other, but more so than that, they complement one another. And so Stat can bring his commentary, and it's so authentic and it's so real and it's so Texas. It's so Texas with his delivery, and I think that really resonates with people because he's been cultivated and trained, and he did formal TV, and he was on networks and things like that. But you get to see him at his fullest, at his best, at his most authentic self. And I just think that they're setting up the next generation to follow that path.
Right. They're
so
setting up the blueprint.
they are. And then Matt, from a technical standpoint, Matt is
He's
just
phenomenal, man.
He just drives the conversation. He's got a great business mind. He's got a great feel. He has a lot of knowledge, and he knows how to like facilitate. And I think the most underrated thing about Matt is his personality and his sense of humor. Me and Matt would joke and go back and forth for years. That was like our love language and the way we communicated with one another. So to see them grow and evolve, Kudos to
And
those
to
guys.
see that side of Matt, because Matt was always like a bad boy in basketball, right?
Yeah.
And to see this side is impressive. Number one, number two, that Kobe situation with the ball, man.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that set him over the top, man.
Matt got time.
Yeah.
Matt got time. I mean, Matt is a guy who the game didn't come easy to him. I remember when he got his first call up to the NBA, it didn't come easy. So it wasn't handed to him. So he had to develop this chip that I think served him in a really good way. Sometimes it got him in trouble, but I think it was his superpower. The fact that he would compete because he was a very skilled player, could shoot the ball, could pass the ball, was a good rebounder, could defend. He could do all those different things. But Matt got that dog in him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got that dog in him. And I
Yep.
think the journey kind of shaped him because he went through a lot coming up.
Yeah, I used to love watching him play, man. I'm a big fan of his
Absolutely.
and the work that they're doing over there. Let's switch now to the NBA. What are your thoughts on the current state of the NBA? It's lost a lot of viewership. The game has changed from a standpoint of how it's being played.
Yeah.
3-pointers are being jacked up. I mean, they're shooting them right now as we speak.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about?
Well,
the game like that?
stylistically, I really miss the way that the game used to be played. The physicality, the difference of offenses. Everybody kind of runs pick and roll, spread offense, jacking up threes now. But the skill level is next level. These kids can, do more things, I think, than the generation before them. But they had to adjust and adapt to the rules, right? The NBA, we faced a reputational problem, with our image. So the malice in the palace and, our dress code and all these different things. So to rebrand the game, I think the rules kind of shifted, not just in the NBA, but also I believe in the NFL with CTE and all the concussions that was happening. So
Yeah, they definitely have made a shift. I mean, even the coaches are not wearing suits anymore.
yeah, the game has shifted. Now, as far as viewership going down, I think the way people are intaking their information is different.
Yep.
There's more highlights that are, people, like to see highlights and quick clicks and things like that. So I don't think they're losing a fan base as far as the visibility. I just think that people aren't sitting down for 2-3 hours anymore just watching whole games. They're digesting it, either through the gambling aspect, on the video game, playing 2K, or either like through social media or YouTube.
Do you think the
things like
social positions that they've taken has impacted them at all, or you think it was a temporary thing, or do you think are they turning the corner because they took a lot of heat for that?
Yeah, you took a lot of heat, but I think it was necessary for the time. There was a lot going on in those moments that guys experience. It's their lived experience too. And sometimes too much is given, much is required.
Right.
And so, those guys were very, very bold in taking a stance for the voiceless.
Right.
As far as our fan base declining because of that, maybe temporarily, but we just signed a new TV deal that's, transformational.
Right.
There's gambling that happens now that I think people are digesting the game in that way. But I to say that it had no impact, possibly, but I don't think they're still being plagued by that right now.
Sure. Now, you've been a basketball lifetime. We've had a lot of conversations about basketball. Where do you see the game today versus how you grew up watching the game?
Well, for me personally, I hate it where it is today. I'm an old school throwback guy. Dr. J's my favorite athlete of all time. I grew up in in that era of dominant Lakers, dominant Celtics, dominant Sixers, evolving into the bad boy Pistons. And for that little, and then, Michael Jordan took over and with his ride. I'm old school, man. Like, I love Pat Riley's old Knicks. They were just brutal, like felonies.
Yeah.
You go on a court, man, everyone's getting arrested for aggravated battery. It was just a different time.
Yeah.
I don't even watch NBA. I could tell you what's going on because I'm, sports astute like that. The athleticism's
It's through the roof.
off the charts. Off the charts.
I was watching.
I see guys like Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards. Like, how do you not say these guys are freaks?
I was watching SGA and Anthony Edwards go at it the other day.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And and Steph Curry has like revolutionized today's game.
Absolutely.
So my buddy, the basketball coach, youth, he goes, these little motherfuckers all think they're Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Jackie
Right.
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's driving him crazy,
Yeah,
but
so,
that's just the way.
I really can't get I can't get down with today's NBA
Yeah.
No.
personally. personally.
I miss the physicality.
Yeah.
I miss the rivalries
Right.
because there's so much freedom of movement now and free agency and things like that. So
You know what I feel? I feel everybody's friends now.
Yeah. Oh,
Back in
yeah,
the
they like
day-
each other.
They like each other. Back in the
Too
day,
much.
yeah.
like if you played, for the Pistons and you played for the Bulls, you ain't talking to each
Listen,
other.
Right.
It's a
Bird-
straight fight if we see
listen,
each other outside of the court.
Listen, those Bird, Magic, Celtic, Laker, man, that hate was real.
It was a
man.
real thing.
And
oh,
it
yeah.
was real between the coasts.
Yep. Oh, yeah. East, West Coast.
West
yeah,
Coast. Like
yep,
that
yep.
shit was real, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I miss that.
Well, it's hard though, just to come to the player's defense. Like a lot of these guys have been playing against each other since they were kids.
Yeah.
So they know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different.
The
Different-
AAU
Well, you see it
circuit.
in
and-
football too. Same thing.
They know each other. They like each other. They feel like it's enough room for everybody to eat. Everybody eats, right? So, that's a part of it. And there was a reputational issue, right? When we were playing as physical and there were fights and things like that, we were getting called the Thug League, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Jailblazers.
Yeah.
All these different
I
things,
love those
right?
guys.
I did. Hey, look,
Man, I love those
I
guys.
played in those
Ruben
eras.
Patterson. I
Big
love
Rube.
those guys.
Big
man.
Rube will slam you.
What?
Yeah. Those guys back in the days would meet you at the locker room.
Man.
Charles Oakley and those
Man,
guys.
I miss those guys.
Hey man, they
I mean,
were hard.
Stack
guys.
took on the whole entire Pistons crowd.
Man, they got time. they got time. They
Yeah.
got time. But obviously, the fan base didn't like that because the
Right.
game was smaller.
Mhm.
I think the professionalism that these guys are bringing, these guys stay out of trouble for
Right.
the most part. Like you don't see a whole bunch of guys, getting in trouble nowadays. I think they're very professional in that way. But I just miss the physicality. I miss the bumping. I miss playing through contact. I think all the teams play the same exact way.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing pick and rolls. I'm tired of seeing, everybody just running to the 3-point line on fast breaks.
Speaking of pick and roll, Luka and LeBron in the pick and roll.
Oh yeah. That's gonna be special.
Oh
That's gonna be
my
special.
God. You can't stop that.
That's gonna be special.
Yeah.
That's gonna be special. It's gonna be a matchup problem for anybody,
Yeah.
trying to guard those two at the end of the game.
Got it. Yeah. What's up, Petey?
Asking the great old question.
What's that?
Which 23?
Oh, yeah. MJ or LeBron?
Look, I'm an 80s baby. Michael Jordan to me is the GOAT.
Yeah.
And this is not to minimize LeBron and his impact and his longevity. I think there's certain things that LeBron does better, but
Agreed
for
with
the
that.
time that Mike did it, nobody did it better.
100%.
Yeah.
The thing about LeBron is that the level he's playing at 40 is
Come on now.
unbelievable.
Come on now.
I'm not his biggest fan because of the way he left Miami, but that's just my bias, right? But removing that bias, you got to appreciate this guy's career.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's an unbelievable career this guy's had.
yeah.
Well, how about the way I left Miami? What? Oh, I just change it up. Man.
Yeah.
I just have. But I'm a Jordan guy.
Yeah.
I love LeBron. How do you take anything away from that guy? Man, he was incredible.
Yeah.
To do it as long as he's done.
Yeah.
But if you grew up in that era, man, you remember Jordan. He was that guy was just. You didn't want to see him if your team was
Just a different
if he was coming up. He
different
was
cut, man.
when Keon mentioned that it factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the definition of it
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another level, like
We'll never make another one like that again.
man,
Yeah.
he was.
He was special.
He was special. He was different. So you played with the Heat, and the Heat organization and Pat Riley have been getting a lot of, criticism in the media and by former players because of the system that they run there and the accountability and they put you through it down there. You played in that system, and do you think they can continue running that organization the way they're running it to have success? I mean, they just 2 years ago, and it's crazy talk for me as a fan because 2 years ago we were in the finals, right? So where's this coming from? And I know the whole Jimmy Butler. I want to touch on the Jimmy Butler situation, but from a standpoint of an organization in today's basketball, do you think the Heat culture can continue to thrive in this state of basketball?
History has shown, because of their resume and kind of what they've already done, not only in the eras before, the Heat culture works. Now, they have to have a certain type of player with a certain type of DNA that can, benefit and manifest in that system. But the Heat culture definitely works. They shouldn't shift it. I think they have adjusted. It used to be a lot more difficult.
Right.
Trust me, they didn't want to be at the University of Miami 7 in the morning with that humidity, running 600-800. You didn't want to have to do that. And if you didn't pass, you had to do it over before you get to the, the 14 200s. So I think they have made adjustments. I really do. I believe that they have made adjustments, and I think that the Heat program speaks for itself.
Mhm.
And I don't think, it's just right getting the right fit. And sometimes, guys have to move on to get a fresh start. Jimmy is one of those guys. When he gets a fresh start, it works for him. He's a guy who,
How do you think Jimmy handled that situation?
well, I think, it's a business.
Mm.
It's a business as well. And he got an extension, right?
Yeah, got 60 mil
So
or
at the-
120 mil.
Yep.
So
So
you're-
I mean, you have a window to maximize your earning potential,
Sure.
and maybe he saw the writing on the wall that they weren't going to re-sign him, and so he might have, like
So he had to use his leverage over
he
the
had
situation.
to use his leverage so while he's young to maximize what he can do. He could have handled a lot of things better, but when Jimmy was on the court, Jimmy came to play.
Do you think it'll affect when they go back to the bargaining agreement with the owners? Would this particular situation affect how this is going to go forward with guaranteed contracts?
Well, no, I don't think you can unguarantee contracts because the players are the product. At the end of the day, the players and their talent bring the eyes to the game. And I think the NBA has a great partnership with their players. The same way Luka just got traded, he missed out on a lot of money, right, from not being able to get the super max.
He got destroyed.
So if it's a partnership and it's business, you have to make business decisions. You got to look at these guys as businessmen. They're not just chattel out there, right? They actually have a unique skill set that, generates a lot of attention, a lot of revenue, and things like that. And so if they want to, change a scene or, fight for more or negotiate harder, you have to have that right to do that. It's the American way.
So, Nevin, I'll ask you, you've been a lifelong Heat fan. The way Jimmy acted, and Jimmy was up there right behind D-Wade for me, all-time Heat, in front of Shaq, just because of what he did with what he had and getting the team to the finals twice. It's just unbelievable job that he did here. But did Jimmy hurt his legacy with Miami?
Yeah, he hurt his legacy with Miami. No question, because Pat Riley's just not a forgiving soul. And you witnessed that with LeBron leaving, the way he handled it, D-Wade not getting re-signed. That was pretty close to that situation, the front part of it, before I went in. But the Jimmy Butler, we're in a different generation today. Keon said it's a business, man. He's 100% right. And not only that, like a lot of people, the average layman person who doesn't make that kind of money, how do you pay these athletes that kind of money? How much money are the owners making if they're paying them that kind of money? People forget the other end of that spectrum. And it's real. Like these NFL owners, even though we're talking NBA right now, like, do you have any idea what these franchises are selling for $7-8 billion? How much money are they making?
Sure.
These guys deserve whatever they get because they're putting the fans in the seats. That's how it is. To answer your question more direct, I think he hurt his legacy with Miami. I don't think he really particularly cares looking at Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he don't care.
He's ruined 4 legacies.
Yeah, he don't go fuck.
Right, with 4 different teams. And, his check's going to be there.
Yeah. From an X's and O's perspective with Golden State now, because now the hype is, he's come out a ball of fire. Jimmy's playing like Jimmy is supposed to be playing. They may have a shot now to win it all. Do you think that? And they're undersized, number one, with their starting lineup. You run into a Denver, you run into a Lakers team, I think they're going to have some trouble. But that's just my average.
I don't think they're a contender, but I don't think they're a pretender as well. I think they're in the middle. They're a dangerous team that if you come and you half step, they can beat you. They got the pedigree, they got the talent. I just think the size that they don't have enough of it.
They don't have enough of it.
Yeah, in the Western Conference, there's some big players out there. I just don't think they have enough to win it this year. I don't think they're a contender this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're hot right now.
Yeah, they're balling.
And they're shooting. But you run into a Denver, I don't know if you're gonna match up with them.
No. But nobody can really match up with Joker.
Yeah,
He's
a different animal in the playoffs.
He's something.
Yeah, he's something different.
He's the most
special.
unsexy superstar of all time.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
More than Nowitzki, you think?
They're
They're there.
Yeah, man. I don't
Nowitzki
like
Nowitzki probably had a little bit
Joker-
more flair than him.
But Joker's won what 3 MVPs now.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
He's just incredible.
And he just shows up like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here to fucking play ball, and I want to go race my horses when the season's over.
Yeah. Yeah. And mean as a rattlesnake.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, he's competitive.
Yep.
He's mean.
Yep.
Super skilled. He's like the first point center that I can remember.
Yeah.
That can bring the ball up and you can set a pick on him. He can throw lobs. He's just a unique
Bam
special-
does a little bit of that, but Bam's more like a power forward playing
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. A guy at 7'1", how tall is he? 7'2"?
Yeah.
To do that?
He's a big guy.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Big guy.
incredible. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Something
He doesn't-
special.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's gonna like trick you to death, but he tricks you to death. Like
Yeah.
he's amazing.
And like you, he's got muscle behind the bench. His big brothers are always at the game and
Yeah.
they're ready for whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got the
He
the
has
muscle.
dogs in the yard.
Jokic is 6'11".
6'11"?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was 7'1", 7 feet. He looks bigger than what he is. This
Yeah,
wingspan-
that dude's bigger than.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the real deal. All right, I always ask former athletes that play college ball, in today's NIL world, how much are you worth?
Ooh, I mean, I would have to get a market analysis on that. I know what I was worth, back in the 90s.
Oh.
It would have
had
to
nothing
be a
to
lot.
do
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do
It would
with
have-
it.
if he had something to do with it, I would have went to the U.
Yeah, right.
That's
But,
a fact. So that's your question. Here's my question for Keon.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I get you on the prison squad if I'm in there? At the
Yeah,
same
I'll
time?
be. You know what? I'll be like Coach Carter. I'll coach the team. I'll be like the players
Coach
coach.
Carter.
I'll be like Bill Russell. I'll
You were-
play and
you were
coach.
Yeah.
Listen, you were coming to my squad, man.
I'll be the players coach. Man, I got bad hips, but I still, I still
we
can
would've-
dunk the
He
basketball.
would have figured out a way for you to pass the physical.
Oh, I would have got. I'm sure he would have got
Man.
poured all cortisone
Yeah.
shots for me, whatever I
that
needed.
first ride through Oakdale, man, just some legendary epic.
Yeah.
Hey, just to actually answer your question, I asked here randomly, what would be Keon Dooling's evaluation
Uh-huh.
at this time?
Uh,
You're looking around 100, 250K per year. You'd be estimated.
Yeah,
No.
probably more than that.
Way more.
That might have been the '90s rate.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Trust me.
If he was a projected
Yeah, no.
NBA pick like
check
you
on
were,
AI on Gemini. What'd you check on?
if you were projected NBA draft pick like you were in the first round, you're looking at 500K per year. So you're
That's
more like
it.
more like it.
That's
Yeah.
more like
That
it.
sounds more like it.
I can tell you one thing. That number's inaccurate. I don't care what AI
That's
says,
more
man.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the current state of college basketball, just college athletics period, with this whole NIL situation that's going on? It's just a fucking free for all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good for the players. It's tough for the fan bases
Mhm.
because so many guys hit the transfer portal every year. I mean, you could be a team like the University of Miami and make it deep in the tournament, and then guys will just like leave and go to a new situation. But also, I just think that the college game has kind of been so. How do I say this and not say it in a bad way? It's been so it's exploited players for so long. Like it's good to see people, being able to earn off of the value that they bring, though they're not participating in the revenues that are being generated. The image and the likeness is a good thing. And so I think the state of college basketball is good. Not great because, if you're good enough as a player, you're usually going to go on to the NBA pretty quickly, usually in your first 2 years. So there's a lot of talent that could be in college right now that's in the G League or playing overseas because a lot of guys not only transfer a lot of guys into the draft very early. And so I just think that from a talent standpoint, the talent level is down because there's so many different alternatives to earn now.
Mm-hmm.
And guys are taking, the G League route. Some guys are going overseas. Some guys are not going to school and just kind of working out and training, waiting for that year of college, that year after high school.
What do you think about the one and done? Like, should they eliminate and go back to allowing players to come right out of high school and be drafted?
I think so because like international players can come, they can come in,
Sure.
they don't necessarily have to have a gap
Mhm,
year and things
mhm,
like that. So I think, if you're talented enough, you're good enough,
Yeah.
get them in there early.
Yeah.
Get them in there early. Now, it's a catch-22 because a lot of times when you're young and you come in the game and you don't develop, now you're 23, 24 years old and you have no education. You can't necessarily make money in the league anymore. And so there's a there's an opportunity for you to have to reinvent yourself down the line, and that can have cause mental health issues, identity issues, substance abuse issues, and just guys trying to figure it out because their brain is still developing.
Yeah.
So I think, you should be able to come out of high school right now.
So the dynamic's changing. I mean, Cooper Flagg made a comment the other day. I know you made some commentary on it about him possibly coming back next year. Would you advise him to do that? I mean, he could probably get, who knows how much money he would get to come back, or do you tell him just go in the draft? You'd be the first pick.
Yeah, I think he should go in the draft. If he wants to go back to Duke in the summertime, continue his education, and get the college experience, go back in the summers. North Carolina is beautiful in the summertimes, but the only way is down. Like, you're pretty much consensus number one right now. There's two young players coming up behind him that could potentially be number one picks.
AJ
Dabansky, Dabansa. And then there's another kid who they ranked
saw
ahead of
I
him.
just saw that today.
So there's a lot of talent in that year behind. But I just think the timing is really good for Cooper right now to go straight to the league.
What's impressive about Cooper, he's only 17 years old.
He's young. Man.
That's unbelievable.
He's young.
He's only 17 years old.
He's young.
Where do you see him as a generational type talent? Like generational type talent?
I don't think he's a generational talent.
Okay.
But I think he'll be a really good player. I think he'll be
who's somebody you would compare him to in the league?
Right now, I would compare him to like a Jason Tatum.
Okay, got it.
In a sense, where you're 6'8", 6'9", can dribble, pass, shoot. He plays with the motor. So like Jason Tatum to me is not a generational talent, but he is a superstar player.
Yeah, top 5 player.
It's not many generational talents in the game right now. I think he is somebody who can be a multiple-time All-Star. I think he can be a one option. And I think he can help grow the game, especially here in our country.
Have you seen Cooper play at all?
Yeah, I have.
What are your thoughts on him?
Tom Chambers.
Okay. All right. I like
back in the day on that one.
Well, I dig deep when I have to.
Tom Chambers.
I got the receipts.
Yeah.
And the vault. But yeah, that's why I see he's real good. I agree with Keon. I don't think, people use the word GOAT and generational way too loosely. Like that happens every Muhammad Ali generation. So I would agree with Keon's assessment on that. I think he's he's got definitely all-star, NBA repetitive all-star potential, potentially a Hall of Famer. But to say generational, like LeBron, you could see was going to be
generational. Yeah.
And I think that was clearly obvious to anyone at that age. At 15, he was like, he was really. He's a real polished product, LeBron. He was when he got in, just everything for the media, everything. He's been put together. That he's the model for how to do it in today's world.
He is the model. So I asked you about the NIL, but the transfer portal. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal and these kids picking up every year and transferring out?
It's a catch-22. Because a lot of times, it puts some accountability on coaches to develop you. We were talking about Vince Wilfork earlier. Sometimes, coaches can hold you back and give older players an opportunity. When I went to college, I didn't come in as a starter, though I was more talented than the person before me. But he was more seasoned, had more experience and things like that. Eventually, I was able to, kind of take the position. So I do like it because I always look at it from the lens of a player. And if one situation isn't working, you don't want to have to sit out. You might be a clash of styles. You might be homesick. All those different things you can factor into it. So I don't like it to a degree, but I do like it because it puts some accountability with the coaches.
It's a catch-22, man. I just don't know how you can build a program of consistency and culture. Because one year you can have a phenomenal year. Look at Florida State football, right? Always go back to them. And then the next year they go 2-9. And they're a product of the portal. They missed on some guys, and that's what happens. So it's hard to see. And, you get coaches like Nick Saban dropping out, Larinaga over at University of Miami because it's way too much. You got to re-recruit your players every single year. So that's the problem. I wish they had more parameters on the portal. You get maybe like one time you can change schools, but there's players changing 4 times in their career, 5 times in their career. It's just wild. Yeah. And from a fan perspective, man, it's just tough. Like, it's hard for me to keep up with Florida State now. Like, I don't know half of the roster that's on there.
Right.
And for me, college football was always about who's the next guy that's going to come up, the next underclassman
Right.
that's going to take over the program. And now it's like it's year to year.
Yeah, it is. But also it's like that for the coaching staffs too, because they can take your scholarship too.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I said, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just hope I enjoy sports so much that, you know, sometimes the transfer portal is good and gives a guy an opportunity to go to a situation where the playing style might be a better fit for him. The money opportunities might be different for him and better for him. So I just like the freedom that players have now to, you know, maximize the short window.
Nev, so when you were in the system, did you get in the transfer portal?
Often. It took me 18 months, but no one wanted to let me go. It's crazy, man. Like these prisons say they hated me, but really they loved me, man. They didn't want to let me go. Man, what I had to go through to move around, you have no idea. You know, you always got jokes, man.
Throw something your way,
How'd you
man.
travel?
Listen, Andy, the truth of the matter is, you know, my paperwork was solid. So when you got a running game and a defense, you could travel.
Facts. Facts.
You know what I
Big
mean?
fact.
Yeah.
Paperwork is important.
It's
Forget
super
about it.
important.
Paperwork is important in that setting.
When
Right.
you know, you know.
Right. Right.
Trust me, I didn't know about paperwork till I learned about
Right.
paperwork.
Right.
You know, so when everyone's like, rat this, rat
Yeah.
that, man, I'd have gotten punched in the face 1,000 times. Right?
Yeah. Whatever. This is just comments, man. So, in closing, we got big news.
Yeah.
You're joining the Beyond the Narrative family.
Come on now.
Hey, man.
Come
Hey,
on
man, I think
now.
we're gonna do some great things, man.
We
and,
will.
You know,
We will.
we just thank you for the opportunity to be able to work alongside you and see if we build this brand together.
That's right. Look, if you want to go quick, go alone. If we want to go far, we got to all
Absolutely,
go
man.
together.
Big believer-
I
big
think
believer in
the
that.
power of collaboration is so great. And man, it's great that we get these opportunities now because it's a challenge to the media, the
Mhm.
traditional media, you know, and we bring different and fresh perspectives. So I'm really excited about
I mean, it's changed the whole landscape of everything, right? Sports, politics.
Yeah.
And no one saw it coming, right? It
Right.
just landed, and people are still adapting and moving to it, and it's here, and it's here to stay.
Yeah, it's not going in.
It's not going anywhere.
Listen, adversity doesn't define who you are. It reveals who you are.
Mhm.
And he's going to be amazing.
We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, man, he's going to be amazing. Like, dude was a first-round pick. He was a South Florida basketball legend. Did time. Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't define him. You know
Right.
what I mean? The redemption's going to be much sweeter. And, you know, people should watch. It's going to be great.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what's coming.
And we're going to have some great guests. We're going to have some great conversations. We're going to have some fun. We're gonna spice this thing up a
I
little
love
bit.
it, man.
Yeah,
Love it, man.
We're going to make it do what it do.
We're going to change the name to Keep It a Buck.
Beyond the buck. All right, boys, man. Look forward to it, man. This was unbelievable.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you,
and
champ.
let's do it, man.
Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
All right, now.
right.
All right, man.
Big dog.
Signing off.
Carry on the narrative. Best in class, so pray for my peers. Slingshot bullet that's clear. Your weak shots couldn't pierce through bulletproof ears. A martyr, a menace. I'm leading horses to drink and pulling teeth like I'm feeding the dentist. Carry on the narrative.